Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm your host, Tomas Garza, and I hope you're having a great day, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you're joining me from. And if you're catching this on the replay, welcome as well. So this is a live stream that we've been doing here on Enlightened World Network since January of this year. And we've covered a number of different topics about A Course in Miracles, and each and every single live stream has had to do with universal spirituality. So if you're just joining me here for the first time, welcome. And we're going through a section of A Course in Miracles known as the Workbook for Students. And today we are on lesson 112. Now, you'll notice that we're going to be spending the next 9 to 10 live streams here reviewing ideas that we've covered previously, which reminds me that if you'd like to view some of these live streams, I've started at lesson 1 in the workbook, and we'll go all the way through to lesson 365 and then some. And we've had lots of other days where I pick a special focus of the day on Mondays, and we talk about an item related to spirituality from the lens of A Course in Miracles. So these review lessons are very, very wonderful for practice, and I hope that you may hear something today that really, really resonates for you, that really, really sticks with you. That is always my hope. Now, going back to the point I was making a moment ago about the back lessons, Enlightened World Network has a YouTube channel with every single episode archived. So there is a playlist called A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love, and you can go back in the YouTube channel and view any of the past episodes. There are now over 100 of these, probably about 130 or so. And I'm really enjoying doing it. One of the things that I'm enjoying the most here, guys, is the interaction with all of you. So please feel welcome to say hello here in the comment thread. Feel welcome to tell us where you're joining us from. And if you have comments about the material that we're covering today, if you have questions, feel welcome, please, to ask the question. You never know who you might be benefiting on the other side of the world by asking a question that's on your mind. Yeah. That's always the way it works. And our intention here at the network is to build a community as large and as far-reaching and as extensively as we possibly can. So yeah, your comments are much appreciated. Even if you're catching me on the replay here, I do check them from time to time throughout each day. So I will catch you on that. Thank you in advance. And also thank you for all of the page shares, the likes, the hearts, all of that. We really appreciate it. So sometimes I talk for about 20 minutes, sometimes longer. Yesterday, the live stream, which talked about special relationships, especially in the context of holidays, went a little longer than that even. And my reason for saying all of this is when I sit down, turn on the microphone, and turn on the camera, I don't always know what I'm going to say. And sometimes I stumble upon a lesson, and we're on one of those, even though it's a review of two different lessons. Sometimes there's very little to say, because the lessons and the truth in them is so clear and self-explanatory that there's very little, if anything, I feel like I have to add. Today is one of those days. So I'm sitting down thinking that we could be done here in 2 minutes, or we might need a couple of hours. Because it always helps to describe and explain. Now, these very simple lessons are lessons 93 and 94 in the workbook. Now, they're covered in lesson 112, which is taking place during a review period. That's where we are. And you may be in a different place, but here we are with lesson 112. If you haven't gotten there yet, there's still plenty for you to hear today, for sure. And if you've been there already, it can be a helpful review. Absolutely. It always helps to go back through past material when seen at a different point in time, through a different lens, with a different presenter. Yeah, always helpful. So lesson 93, light and joy and peace abide in me. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Yeah. Now, in the world, we often experience the opposite, don't we? Darkness, frustration, fear. Name any other adjective that we might label as negative or troubling. We experience those emotions. We experience these things in the world. And in A Course in Miracles, we have seen, and I stress repeatedly, of course, that we have a choice between love or fear. Our true nature is light and joy and peace. That is what abides in us. And the best way that I can think of to talk in greater detail about this lesson is simply to read what lesson 112 says and read it verbatim. It's very short, it's very powerful. Light and joy and peace abide in me. I am the home of light and joy and peace. I welcome them into the home I share with God because I am a part of Him. I know you know this. I know that you know this, whether you were taught to suppress this knowledge, whether you were taught to deny this knowledge, or whether you've chosen to suppress or deny this truth about each and every one of us. There is no separation of any kind. Why would we not welcome light and joy and peace into the home we share with God? Because we're a part of Him. We're a part of God. There is no separation of any kind. So allow this truth to sink in. Yes, I'm saying that. How can I say that? How can I not? Yeah. How can you not say that? This is an uplifting and powerful statement of truth. It's who we all are, all of us, everybody without exception, even people that you may label as enemies, even people you may label as mortal enemies, troubling. Remember that A Course in Miracles is giving it to us straight. It's straight talk, isn't it? It's absolute truth. In other words, it's truth with a capital T. It is what is. Now, ultimately, of course, what is completely beyond words. It's beyond all of our human constructed concepts like language, like words. It's beyond even thought. It's even beyond our thinking minds. And you know that when you experience it. So all of these words that I'm uttering, that you see online, that any spiritual teacher will utter, are to point you to the truth, the experience, so that you may have the experience of who you really are. One with God. Pretty clear, pretty clear. Now it's up to each and every one of us to open to that and to allow that, to provide a welcome space for that, a welcome home, so to speak, as lesson 93 and 112 talk about. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Lesson 94. I am as God created me. How about that? I am as God created me. In other words, same as God himself, yes, endowed with everything that God has. God extends himself. Love extends itself. In fact, it's not possible to extend something else. Light and joy and peace abide in you. You are as God created you. You are not. Ultimately, who you really are is not broken. You are not broken. None of us is broken. We are not flawed. We are not lacking. We are not unworthy. We are not less than. We tell ourselves this all the time. Other people give us this message, but usually we ourselves are our own worst critics. We literally destroy ourselves. So this is an opportunity for each of us to entertain the correction to that idea and to accept and allow in the idea that we are worthy. We are as God created us. Let me read the words here following the statement of lesson 94. I am as God created me. I will remain forever as I was, created by the changeless like himself. And I am one with him, and he with me. Okay. And I am one with him, and he with me. How about that? Let that sink in. You may find yourself openly receptive to this idea. You may find yourself openly resistant to this idea. Either way, that's okay. It's not wrong to be resistant. Why? We have, each of us, been conditioned to resist the truth of who we really are. That's a harsh way of putting it, isn't it? But it's true. It's true. Everything that the world, that our parents, that teachers, that governments and societies have concocted supposedly to keep us safe are sometimes, in fact, hindering us. And we, as adults, run into all sorts of issues as a result of our conditioning. When we formulate the wish to see, in other words, when we formulate the wish to accomplish a spiritual path, the spiritual path, and awaken, we run into all of these things. And all of our drama comes up as an opportunity, of course, for us to release it. But it can, in fact, be quite shocking sometimes. Nobody likes to admit that they harbor vicious attack thoughts about other people. I mean, you might readily admit that, which is great, but a lot of people are hesitant to admit that, and that certainly does make sense, doesn't it? These ideas can be very, very helpful. I am as God created me. Same as God himself. One. One means one. There are no divisions. There is no hierarchy. One is not less than the other. There is no other. So if there's no other, how can there be a tiered ranking system? There isn't one. In the world, we made it up and agreed that we were going to live with all kinds of gradations, ranks, hierarchies. We don't have to. You can most certainly break that agreement. On a deep level, we're all destined to do that. So you can do it in a spirit of peace and love and understanding. It doesn't have to be a violent break. can be very, very peaceful. And the practice of today's ideas in the workbook will go a very long way toward your feeling and experiencing that peace. So the way the workbook suggests that we practice these review ideas is spend 5 minutes morning and evening contemplating them and just letting that idea run around in your mind and see what comes up that's peaceful and joyful and exuberant. Yeah? And then several times during the day, recommends on the hour, but it's whenever you remember to do it, just recite the day's ideas. Even that has more power than you can possibly imagine. And if you can imagine a lot, great. It has more than you can imagine, has more than any of us can imagine. And the idea is, again, light and joy and peace abide in me. I am as God created me. All right, so as I always do, I want to check and see who's joining me here today. We've had some really, really wonderful dialogue and comments here in the last week. So if you've got comments, please feel welcome to type them in here. If I don't get to them while I'm still live here today, I will get to them on the replay, and I do check these comments several times during the day. So feel welcome, please. So Sophia, hello, how are you? From Stockholm, Sweden, welcome. All right. Thank you for tuning in here. This is really wonderful. We've had several people from Europe. There are several people who tune in regularly from the UK and Romania. And we've had people from Pakistan, French Polynesia, Australia, New Zealand, as well as North America. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us here. And this is a live stream that I do almost every day. Now, I will be taking a road trip this week. We're going to see some family in the neighboring state of California. I'm in Arizona here in the United States. So we're driving to Los Angeles today. It should be fun. And I've got a sister that lives there, and then we'll be spending some time up in Oregon, seeing family and friends again. So I will be broadcasting live again on Saturday of this week, but this is a perfect opportunity if you'd like to go back and look at some of the past episodes. Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel is the place that I could send you. Every show, and there are a number of tremendous and uplifting shows here on the network. Each one has its own channel on YouTube. It's Enlightened World Network. So check that out and feel welcome to leave questions or comments. And thank you all again for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.